Recently, when I completed The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt, I felt a huge sense of relief wash over me as I was physically and mentally exhausted from the sheer amount of time that I had spent trying to complete everything I possibly could. I soon learned that that would be impossible if I wanted to play other games on my backlog, and resigned myself to the fact that The Witcher 3 was just going to burn me out. A few months after completing the game, I began reading the books, and also recently started watching the Netflix series, which gave me a burning itch, thankfully not in the crotch region, to return to the vast continent that I explored with Geralt. So, feeling refreshed, I decided to jump in and try out the first of the DLCs, Hearts of Stone, which was originally released on October 13th, 2015. For the purposes of this review, I played the game on PC. Where some games choose to implement their DLC separate to the base game, The Witcher 3 integrates it directly. All Hearts of Stone DLC quests are marked with a distinctive blue motif, or exclamation mark, so that you understand that it is DLC that you are undertaking. The questline begins when Geralt discovers a contract posted to a notice board to take out a giant amphibian that has been terrorizing the citizens of Oxenfurt from the sewers beneath the city. In the base game, I never really visited Oxenfurt all that often, so it was nice to have a portion of the narrative of the DLC set around this university-themed town, which gave me huge Oxford vibes. The quest places Geralt into contact with Olgierd von Everec, a seasoned man who leads a bunch of mercenaries through their crusades of pillaging and debauchery. Though Olgierd seems, at first, to have an appreciation of the arts, this assumption is soon turned on its head when he destroys an expensive, one-of-a-kind statue by nonchalantly pushing it over. From this action, I became suspicious of his motivations, and the story just grew organically and more interesting from there. Our adventure centers around the areas of Velen and Novigrad, but adds new locations in the northern regions of that map area, including new points of interest to discover. Even though these were already there in the version of the base game that I played, I hadn't ventured that far out as the main quest never took me in that direction. Now, if you suffer from arachnophobia, then you'll probably want to steer well clear of these places, as they introduce a new type of enemy, the arachnomorph, who move extremely fast and unsettle with their scurrying and chittering. Their combat prowess is unlike anything you've encountered before, where they will swarm you if you try to focus down one of their ranks. I found the trick to dealing with them was to use my least used sign, Uridan, which would slow down any of the critters that happen to walk through it. Trust me, it makes dispatching the buggers a breeze. Through your exploration, you may also be placed into contact and combat with remnants of the Order of the Flaming Rose, who, after the assassination of King Foltest and the official disbanding of the Order by Radovid V, are now nothing more than a rabble band of misfits. The remnants that you encounter are a sorry lot, but it is nice to steal and wear their armour in honour of our good friend Siegfried. One of the unit types wields a large shield that can be difficult to penetrate, which adds a little strategy to combat outside of the typical hack and disembowelment that I found the game becoming. One of my favourite parts of the DLC was the reunion with Shani, who you may recall from the first game. In my playthrough, she had gotten annoyed with me because I chose to give Alvin to Triss for safekeeping, so I expected there to be a little animosity in the air, but she seemed relieved to see Geralt, if a little hostile at first, and it was nice to spend some time with her as she assisted Geralt with a few of his endeavours. The other major character of note is the enigmatic Gaunter O'Dimm, who we first met in White Orchid. Whilst he assists Geralt without a fee that time, he returns as promised and places a heavy price on his assistance this time around, so much so that one might even begin to wonder if it was a better fate than the one that Geralt could have suffered had the Mirror of a Merchant not intervened. If you happen to go travelling, you may stumble upon the Runewright, a native of the far-off Offieri, who will offer to further upgrade Geralt in exchange for his expertise and a lot of crowns. By submitting certain unused weapon runes to the man, he can permanently change the way Geralt travels the world and approaches combat. For instance, he can make all armour be treated as heavy type, or make it so that Quen is automatically activated at the beginning of battle. In all, there are over 20 different abilities that he can enchant Geralt with, which can add or remove challenge from your playthrough. For me, it was kind of refreshing as I felt that compared to the first two games, the skill system in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was a bit limited. I really enjoyed that the music built upon what was established in the base game whilst adding its own new flavour. For instance, Your Immortal contains the wailing women that we are so used to within the battle tracks, whilst Evil's soft first touch weaves in elements of my favourite track, Ain Shay from the Elven Ruins, whilst establishing its own menacing byline, which encapsulates the mystery surrounding Gaunter O'Dimm. The voice acting equally breathes life into the narrative, which kept me hooked on every word, and laughing at some of the frivolities, such as some of the scenes at the wedding.
Rather not waste any time.
Till the stroke of midnight, what I would rather is what matters.
In all, the DLC took me around 10 to 12 hours to complete, which included undertaking some other side quests as well as doing a main game quest that involved unlocking a blacksmith in Novigrad that I had forgotten doing in the beginning. Olgierd's requests will see Geralt attending a wedding with Shani whilst possessed by a ghost, heading to an auction house owned by the same people that sold off his Witcher blades in the book, Season of Storms, to undertake a heist, and dealing with the grief of a spurned woman who haunts the estate of a once wealthy family via entering another dimension. I thoroughly enjoyed the direction that the DLC took and was often on the edge of my seat. I felt that the story pacing was better and more streamlined than the base game, and the writing was phenomenal. It makes me want to tackle the final DLC, Blood and Wine, in the not too distant future. What are your experiences with Hearts of Stone? Let me know in the comments. By the way, do you tend to play DLC or do you move on once you finish the base game? Let me know in the comments. This has been Venoir with a review of Hearts of Stone for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the PC. If you enjoyed this review, please like and subscribe for more great RPG content. As always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you all again next time. Take care of yourselves and bye bye for now.